Alrighty, IS-6 on Windstorm. You've got a slightly more armored comp than them. They've got a couple more tank destroyers, which usually means they'll be a little bit more campy. So you can probably be reasonably aggressive. You can play through anywhere in this middle area here, particularly against mediums, although I don't know necessarily that you'd want to face off against the 54E1, but like they've got a lot of light tanks that might end up in this area over here. So a lot of times you can secure this area over here and get shots. You can play through the town if you want, because you're probably not going to see a whole lot on that side either. Definitely you should try to work with your platoon mate, so you guys should probably try to stick together. One of the reasons why you play in platoons is so that you can work on teamwork together. And a lot of it is, like, especially if you're in this comp against your team's comp against their team's comp, where you're in two of the heavies, you guys could probably bully a lot of these guys over here. Like, even if you ran into, like, the T-34 or the WZ-111 over there, if you're both over here, you guys can bully them. And that's part of the reason why you get in platoons, is so that you can actually work together. Like, if you were just watching Lefty and I play, I mean, a lot of it is just simple communication. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then the other person just, you know, works to play off of that. Otherwise, you know, you're just two people that happen to be in the same game. You're not really, you know, working together per se. So we see a lot of their team is on the north, which is fine. So you'll probably be okay with being a little bit more aggressive. You see that their WZ-111 is in that A6 area, so you're not going to run into him. The T-54E1 is in the center area, so you don't have to worry about him. The T-54 is also on that north side center, so again, a bunch of things. T-28, that's a small worry, but he's on the other sort of street. So you can bully this tiger, no problem. It's a trap! No problem. Now 54E1 is coming around behind your IS-8, so that's something that you're going to want to keep an eye on. Like, you could push the T-28, T-54 is backing out, so you can probably get this T-28 in a pincer. It looked like he was backing up to the northeast, so his back should be towards you, because I think he was facing that IS-8. But now that you killed that tiger, you might turn around. Either way, you should be able to just push past him. Shoot the track. Shoot the track. Especially when you gotta drive uphill like that, and you know you're not gonna make it all the way to him. You just shoot his track. Like, even now, you can just shoot his track. There you go. Excellent. Excellent work. And then in this particular case, you could have gone up on the other side, because he can rub you off on that corner right there just by backing up through there. Like, let's say he wasn't a T-28. Let's say that he was an E3 or a JPE 100. You want to be on the side where it's more difficult for him to just rub you off on corners and things like that. In the meantime, your buddy is getting swarmed.
It's a trap!
He's reloading, so you can probably cross the bridge. You've got some support coming with you. No, I wouldn't. Just worry about what's in front of you. Because if your buddy's still alive, if you can possibly get to him before he dies, that'd probably be to both of your advantages. Another reason why you play platoons is so that, you know, if you get swarmed, your platoon mate, you know, theoretically should try to help you out. You got the IS-8 with you. The T-54 is clipping out.
It's a trap!
Lol. Needed more server reticle. Your shot like went into that building over there.
It's a trap!
Yep, and then just push T-54.
It's a trap!
And then try not to expose yourself to the ZZ-111 here. Okay, he pushed down. Good run. I was gonna say, if he backs off, you just need to just go down there. You still don't know where the ISU is, but you kind of presume the ISU is on the other side, on that northeast, where you guys are in that cap area. You're taking a lot of shots on the run. That T-49 should have held this shot for another 10 seconds, or another 5 seconds until he got around to the back of the WZ-111. That's fine. You got plenty of time. Take your time. Get a good shot. Shoot into the engine deck. No. Got take your time and make sure that you get those shots. So shoot them through that wheel, or you had side turret. Alright. That's good. So there's got a T-54 lightweight and an ISU left. So you could probably play through the middle there. The ISU is going to be more static. The T-54 lightweight is going to be the guy out front. Your T-49 is a little bit YOLO, so it'll happen. You could probably push this guy. He doesn't really know you're there yet. You just need to be careful not to expose yourself to the ISU. The ISU, if anything, is going to be about right there by now. Depending on how much he actually decides to just keep moving forward. Oh, there he is.
It's a trap!
So go to this side and then let your T-49 go to the other side. And don't worry about the T-54 lightweight right now. Just don't get shot by no, don't get shot by this guy.
It's a trap!
Don't get shot by him. Now go. Oh no, he's turning. Okay. Nice. He was turning away from you. Once they turn away from you, particularly when they start rolling downhill, their momentum will prevent them from having a lot of good shots on you.
It's a trap!
A little bit too much out of him. So I think really the biggest problem that you had was that you went over on this side and your buddy was over here. If you guys were both over here, you probably could have worked much better together. You could have done the exact same thing that you did, just together, and everything would have died much faster. You would have lost less health. You guys could have come back and like. All he had to do was do the exact same thing as you, and you guys probably would have won because you would have been able to pick all these guys off in the individual sort of little pockets that they were in. And I think it's one of the things I try to stress is that if you're going to play in a platoon, particularly if you're, in the same clan or whatever, or friends and are on the same team speak or have some way of communicating, make sure that you actually work together to do things. The reason why you get into platoon is not just to have another person on your team that doesn't, that isn't totally horrible, but so that you guys actually do work together. And learning to work together and making that effective will be a force multiplier for your win rate. That was the biggest thing that I saw. Otherwise, I actually thought that most of the movements that you had were fine. I think you did a little bit too much shooting on the move for an IS-6 at the ranges that you were shooting at, but that's fine. And you could have taken a little bit more time on that WZ-111 as well. Just make sure he was very, very obviously fixated on the T-49, and so just make sure that you get those deck shots into the WZ-111. Otherwise, I thought it was a pretty good game. So let's see. Let's see. Do I have the right thing open? Yes. Okay. And so these are the stats. And so you did 5k damage. Your buddy did 1900. Not too bad, but I mean, there's a certain level of difference of survivability in the two positions that you had, and opportunity as well. 17 for 19, not bad considering that you were shooting on the move a lot. But yeah, a lot of times those shots won't. The IS-6 gun is not completely reliable like that. So that's not something that you want to hang your hat on. But GG, nice try. Was this on the NA server? If so, I will send you a message on the official forums with a code for gold and day of premium. GG. Alrighty, and the next one is also in 9.8. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the right one. Never mind. The next one is in 9.7. And I thought I would look at this one because it's the artillery one, and never really critiqued an artillery one before, so we'll see how that goes. I think that most people don't play artillery particularly well. So we'll see how this guy did it. Yeah, I mean, you got a little bit lucky in that you hit a lot of those shots on the move, but really, again, like what you should want to take away from that is that if you and your buddy were working together, you probably would have won that game. Alrighty, and so a lot of, like, if you watch me when I play artillery, a lot of what I do with artillery is you kind of have to think about playing Overlord, and watch what your team does, figure out where your team needs help, figure out what their team is doing, figure out where their team is weak, and figure out where you're going to bomb them out. On this particular map, it doesn't really matter too much where you go. You can go into this little ditch area down here if you want. You can go up here if you want. A lot of it depends on how far your team goes. But generally what you want to be able to do in artillery is that as your team's edge moves, you'll move up into certain pockets to take advantage of that fact. And so a lot of what you'll do is watch your dispersion. You've got a pretty even dispersion right now, right? You've got about a third headed that way, about a third headed that way, and about a third still in the base, which is typical puppies. And you don't really need to back up so far, because unless you're concerned about them literally just driving straight into your base, one of the things that I always say with artillery is that you want to be as close as possible to your opponent, because that's going to minimize the dispersion that you get. And then, so this guy can potentially light things. So things will either appear right here right now. If somebody drives down here, which is rare, it'll appear right there, but you won't really have really good shots. You're not really going to get that much over here until they get like basically where the Sherman is, and that's not really that good of a shot for you. So from your current location, you can't really shoot to this back wall slightly north of where you see how you're running into up against that. See how you can't shoot those guys really, or not very well anyways. So what you want to do is actually move a little bit more to the south, and that's why I like playing in that sort of ditch area if you can. So if you go more over in this area over here, you'll get better angle shots on those guys. You'll get good shots on these guys up here, so that's probably worthwhile. It's just a matter of whether they're going to light or not. You're not really going to get shots on that guy right there. And so it's about looking and see, right? You're not going to get a whole lot of shots until these guys move forward now, because they killed your dude that moved forward over there. Your Cromwell B doesn't seem to be lighting up over here that much. Oh, there he goes. Lol, the pens are real. On his tank was basically angled a little bit up on that rock, so it was exposing more of his top armor, or lack thereof. That PZ4 Hydro, I think, is pretty open to you. This Jumbo is open to you. Like, that KV1 is not that good of a shot. Yeah, these are much better shots right here. And at this point, it looks like you're going to lose this edge. So normally what I do with an artillery in this case is I start heading out north between shots. You know, you've got a long reload time, even in this lower tier arty. So go ahead and start heading out and getting ready to anticipate losing that.
Critical hit.
So at this time, start driving north. Don't drive back, drive north. Just start heading out here, right? And then what you want to do is be able to get to about right here, right? So you'll have the same shots, but you won't have the same exposure, because at some point they're going to be able to just drive in on you.
Critical hit.
Tog, the Arty's hit point pinata. You need to try to get the guys furthest forward. You want to try to slow them down as much as possible, and you still want to be moving north here. Like, you have to understand that you're losing this position.
Gotcha.
Lol. So instead of just backing up incrementally, right? They're still going to be pushing in here. Get out to this area over here at least. You're losing this edge as well now. I would actually probably focus up on this side, because you want to create an out. You're not going to be able to create an out here. It's just going to take you too many shots. You could potentially create an out over here, especially since you have an AT2 over there. Because basically, see how your map control is shrinking? This is the weakest side for you. So this is the side that you should be focusing on, that north side, not the side you're looking at right now, which you're going to lose eventually anyways. Right, you're wasting a lot of time right now. These guys can be shot. They're just sitting out there pecking at your AT2. And so a lot of time that they're spending shooting your guy, you could have been bombing them out, especially since they're going to be motionless like that.
Critical hit.
And again, it's about creating an avenue of escape. And that's the same whether you're in an artillery, whether you're in a tank destroyer, any tank. You want to try to create that out, and then from that out you can then, right, so if you were able to create this out, then you could get out here, and then the KV-85 can spot this side. So see, right now you guys should already be out there, and then you could turn around and very easily deal with these guys as they come up over here. And that's why positioning is really a key when you play artillery. It's about, you know, and even though this is a lower tier artillery, you still have these long reload times that you're just basically spending waiting. Oh, the Arty Pinata is back.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Yeah, I didn't even realize you. Oh, that was the other Arty. I was like, oh, I didn't realize there wasn't anybody else left. But yeah, also if you're in that ditch right there, I'm pretty sure you can shoot into that area without getting spotted. Because I think that KV-1's basically gonna... Well, although he's got the health to take out your KV-85. We'll see. Let's speed this up, shall we?
Critical hit.
And then when you're the last one left, you actually want to move forward, like move into this bush right here. Because what you want to be able to do is be able to spot and aim and have time to aim in before you actually have to fire. Because you don't want to give him the advantage of having the being able to choose the approach.
Target acquired. Critical hit. Look. Bail out. This vehicle is heading.
So yeah, I mean that was fine. So one of the things that the initial positioning, if you think you're gonna get lights over here, and one of the things that you should always do with Artie is as you watch your team go out, figure, right? We saw that whatever that guy was, it was like the Easy 8 or something like that went this way. Maybe it was a Sherman. I don't really remember. And so you know that he's gonna get lights down here, and that's fine. But your positioning was a little bit too far north, so you weren't able to shoot this edge very well. If you come down to the south area a little bit more, you'll be able to shoot down through here a lot better. If that's your early game plan, then that's what you should do. I think the biggest flaw was target selection in the mid to late game, especially once they started pushing around here. There was 2 Excelsiors and one other little dinky tank that came around here against your AT2. When you were clearly losing this south area, what you really needed to do was get to be able to shoot these guys so that you could get out to the north. You should have been hedging out that way already. Once you saw these guys get killed, you should have at least been, you know, back in this area over here, because that would have given you better shots on their guys as they pushed your SU-100Y that was down over here, because while they were doing that, you didn't really have shots on those guys either. So a lot of playing artillery is pre-planning what is happening on my team, what is happening on the enemy team, and what am I going to do next? What kind of situations do I want to force? Like, for example, it's the same thing on the other side. So if you imagine you were playing the other team's artillery, what did those guys do? And what those guys should really do is that they should see that, oh, we're winning this south area pretty handily, right? So between shots, like one of their artillery should already be coming down south over here. Because if one of their artillery gets over here, right, they've already got this area under map control, and they can get shots on your KV-85 as he's back here, right? And so that KV-85 is down. But where their artillery was, they weren't able to do a whole lot in that late game there. Sorry, itchy nose. But yeah, so it's about, think about it like, again, like I said, playing the overlord or the commander of the map, and figure out what you want your team to do, and make sure that you facilitate that. It's not just about, oh, well, there's a bunch of tanks here, so I'm going to shoot it. That's not always the right answer. All right, so if we look at the stats, there we go. Yeah, your KV-85 and your SU-100Y down there did pretty well. Your other already did pretty well too. Unfortunately, you get a whole lot of the rest of the team. Usually, the guys who play in that middle area don't do that well. It's an old remnant of a camping area, but it usually doesn't really work out that well for campers, which I guess is fine. You went 8 for 13, which is actually pretty good because this artillery is not like super accurate. You had a couple of lucky pens like on that T14 and on the Jumbo, but that'll happen. So GG, nice try. Just again, like I said, don't think of it like just controlling your tank. Think about it as how you want to affect the battlefield. So was that on the NA server? If so, I will send you a code on the official forums. Oh yeah, I forgot to update the schedule. The schedule. Hang on, let me put in the schedule real quick. There, I updated it in the stream schedule, so now it says Tag Team Thursday. You may have to refresh. You play the 430 pretty much like the other, what's the word I'm looking for? Russian mediums. It's just got worse gun handling. It's got good DPM, but it's got a longer aim time and more dispersion, which makes it a little bit more difficult to bring that DPM to bear. Alright, this last one is also in 9.7. Alrighty, so Westfield. Tiger 2, there's only one tier 9, so it's basically a tier 8 game. It's mostly tier 8. It's one RD, one big RD on both sides. Alright, so you can play a number of areas. Oh, this is 9.7. They haven't changed this area yet. In 9.8 they changed this area, which is much more entertaining to play now, I think. So you can still play through here, although against a bunch of heavies you might struggle a little bit. You can play through this town area as well, but a lot of it depends on what their team does and how your team actually disperses. They've got more armor than you, but you've got more speed. Hopefully you don't get too many of your guys camping on this E0, F0 area. That happens a lot when you have a lot of mediums. Alright, so it looks like you're heading towards the northwest area. You're not really getting a whole lot of support coming out with you. You've got a few guys going to the town. It looks like your M103 is going to camp it. Maybe in that little ditch there. Maybe he's pushing forward now. And so you don't want to push too high on this hill. You actually want to be down a little bit more in that dip. Otherwise you're going to expose yourself to too many different lanes of fire here. So I have an IS-6 over here. Sorry. Yeah, the IS-6 is over back there as well. They're Tiger 2s in the town. You need to move forward a little bit more, though, at the very least, to try to spot those guys and figure out what else is there. Looks like they're pushing a KV-4 around that corner. That's fine. You can push in through here, but if you're going to play this side, you want to move up a little bit further, ideally to like this church area over there, or even the back of this house, depending on how much armor you have. The Tiger 2 doesn't really have armor to speak of. It uses health as armor. You should have a shot on this Tiger. You kind of backed out of it a little bit. They've got a lot of guys over here, so you need to be really careful about playing that. You're still also really exposed where you're at. You don't have too much of a shot on this guy. You're relying on your shell to fall under the hill, or over the hill and under this manlet. So you need to get away from here because at some point these guys will start proxying you. You don't want to push over here. There's too many guys right there. You do not, absolutely do not want to push over there.
Bereit zu feuern. Der ging voll durch ihre Panzerung.
And so what you want to do, right, because you're still really exposed to artillery here. Yeah. If you're going to stay here, yeah, be on this little bit of the hill. This little bit of slope will help you out. They still got the majority of their guys there, but despite the fact that these guys haven't spotted a single tank out here, 0 tanks, despite the fact that they spot that they have, let's do a count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 enemy tanks in this area right here. There's 12 enemy tanks left, right? Because there's 3 that's dead. One of them is the Arty, so that means that there's 3 tanks that are currently unaccounted for, and these guys are still camping on the aqueduct. These guys are back here, but in this particular case now it's okay to be back there because everything in front of them died. But you don't really want to start back there. And so yeah, get as much as you can here. Try to keep moving so that you don't give artillery good shots at you. IS-3 shot, T-28 shot, so you can shoot the IS-3. You guys are getting pushed in the back. These guys don't really look like they want to push you. That's a decent shot. Like shooting at that Mohawk with the IS-3 can potentially. I wouldn't even bother shooting at the Tiger II right now. The Tiger II is not the big threat to your team. He's just kind of sitting in the back. Good, you already hit him. Yeah, he's giving you side. Yeah, if he gives you that cheek, just shoot him right through the cheek. Shoot the IS-3. Shoot the IS-3. The IS-3. The IS-3. The one-shot IS-3, much better target right there than the 28.
Gegnerfahrzeug ausgeschaltet.
Your guys have now lost on this backside. So now what you want to try to do is you want to try to win this side as quickly as you can, because as soon as these guys get to your back, right, you've got nothing to stop that. No. The Luva is almost dead. The Tiger II is presumably still behind him someplace, but we don't know exactly where. Use your zoom. Looks like their Tiger II bailed. No. Just drive. Yeah. Just force the engagement because he's the one that's at low health, right? Well, that worked. And now they're clearing through on the other side. Oh, look, there's the other T-28. You want to go back to your original position. You want to try to avoid driving over this area of the hill at any point in the game, really, just because it never really gives you anything good. Well, only bad things are possible. Oh, look, they do have an artillery. I'm kind of surprised he didn't shoot you earlier. That teaches them. So now you want to go back on this side of the hill, right? Because you've got potentially some guys to attack him from the other side. We still don't know where their other guys are. Presumably the Tiger II went down into this area to just literally leave. So yes, now is when you push over on the T-28. And so even though you're pushed to the back, you still want to keep moving. Keep going. There's no reason for you to stop. Like, there is a good time that shooting on the move is okay in that particular case. And then you just keep going. Let the CDC kill him. Just keep going. Or well, SU-14 is down. They're back in your base. The CDC will take care of the 14-2. Go back towards your base. Don't worry. Even if he doesn't take care of the SU-14, go back to the base. Much more important. And then what I would do is go into this road right here. That's the best road. You can reset. The CDC, if he comes over here, can reset. But this, if you come over on this road, you're protected from Arty. You get shots on those guys. You can spot. You can light. just drive straight through there. Like you're going basically to where your T-28 Proto and T-28 already are at.
Feuererlaubnis erteilt. Ich sehe sie nicht mehr. Feuererlaubnis erteilt.
So this is the road that I'm talking about. If you just drive down there, you can get shots on the cap. You're not nearly as exposed. Like an arty can just pop you right now. You're like stuck. You're struggling. Already decided to pop the other guy instead.
Ziel verloren. Eine unserer Ketten ist zerstört. Wir sitzen fest.
That's fine. Just get arty safe. You're okay if the CDC shoots you. You're not going to be okay if the SU-14 shoots you.
Wirkungstreffer.
And that really just entitles covers getting in there.
Feuererlaubnis erteilt. Gegnerfahrzeug ausgeschaltet.
I guess that worked. Super fast, King Tiger. Look at that. Look at that thing move. Well, at least he was facing the right direction.
Erwischt.
Alright, so mostly good job. And again, they changed a lot of this map in 9.8, so a lot of what we're talking about here doesn't really apply in the current version of the game. So you want to try to avoid being on the top of the spine. That basically allows anybody from any side to shoot you. You want to be on the back side of the hill, essentially where you ended up when you were fighting against like the T-28 and the Nuva and the IS-3 and whatnot. And then it's just little things like target selection, like that one-shot IS-3 and you decided to shoot at the T-28 instead. Things like that are important. The other thing is that, so when you're in that position, you're pretty arty can hit you. It's not like you're already safe by any stretch of the imagination, so you need to be careful about how you play that in terms of how long that you're lit and how much that you're actually moving. And you're gonna lose this area over here at some point because they swarmed in there, and then so you have to recognize that. And so as you're cleaning off this area, you need to make sure, like when it was just the low or Luva that was back here and you had a bunch of guys pushing in the back, just push in and bully, right? He had like 400 health or whatever it was, 400 some odd health, and you basically were still at full. Just bully. If bully, then bully. There was no reason for you to dance around. Just take the shot to punch them in the face, and that will prevent these guys from getting around to your flank very easily. Then you can turn around and deal with whatever else. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty good. Let's just be a little bit more arty safe, and make sure that you're shooting at the right targets. And so if we look at the stats, apparently this was on a 5x weekend. That T-28 and the T-28 Proto that were in the back of that A line ended up getting a lot of damage, which hopefully doesn't encourage them to continue playing the back of the A line, but in this particular case it worked out for you guys, so I guess that's good. The rest of your team unfortunately didn't do a whole lot. The CDC stayed alive till the end, which is useful. Let's see, 20 for 22. You had maybe a little bit of a high roll pens on the T-28, but I don't think it was unreasonably so. Otherwise, I thought your shooting was pretty good for the most part. Again, it's more about target selection and knowing when you're supposed to bully than anything else. But otherwise, GG. Nice try. Or not nice try. Good carry. Not used to saying that. Alright, yeah, and was that on the North American server?